Welcome back, friend. We are going to begin our journey through quote-unquote money making, collecting resources, money recepting at the root center, the drive and stamina function. Here we are selling freedom. So let's pop in here. So the material way. So the goal in all of this is to attract money in the correct way. We need to be able to be aligned. We have to be aligned with our design so that success, satisfaction, peace, and awe, those 4 words have to be your focus. Because if money becomes your focus, there is no amount of money that will ever bring these feelings to you. Has to start with the alignment of your design, and then the attraction process happens. Making money will never be satisfying, but being satisfied while making money is a totally, completely different story. So here you will learn how you naturally sell. And you can also see how you are sold as well. So the openness is the doorway in for your clients. However, it's also the doorway out for you to gain wisdom and to be sold on the exact same things that you eventually will sell. So knowing this material, you will be able to recognize, it's exactly how I'm sold. I'm sold on this, or I'm sold on that, or I'm sold on this strategy, or I'm sold on this package trying to make me feel worthy. You'll recognize it, and then you can take all that wisdom from all your experience and deliver your particular service or product to your clients based off of your design and based off of your wisdom. One thing you must understand, okay? In your human design, there are going to be 26 activations. We have the personality side, sun, earth, moon, nodes, all the planets, design, sun, earth, moon, nodes, all the planets. There are 26 activations in everybody's human design. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to have 26 different gates defined. There can be multiple planets in multiple gates. And all of that has their own line value. So potentially, let's just pop back. So potentially this 48, I can see that it is at least twice. It's on the design side and it's on the personality side. So this 48th gate may be 48.1, it might be 48.5. But what we are going to focus in on in this money-making aspect, resource-making aspect, we focus in on the 3rd line. Doesn't matter if you have the 3rd line in your design or not. The flavor of how the gate is going to make money is based in the 3rd line. The 3rd line process is the material plane. So the 3rd line is the heart of what it is to make money and be materially successful. The 3rd line is the trial and error process that brings great wisdom into the world, embracing failure. The 3rd line adapts and pivots. 3rd line is innovative and creative, and the 3rd line is that martyr and that anarchist, breaking down the old to make way for new innovations. So 3rd line, If you want to know anything about the third line, we are going to have every single third line in the slides. You have already walked through every single one of these gates, and you've got all 1 to 6 lines. We are focusing just on the third line for every single one of the gates that we walk through, because there's 64 material ways. Whether you have that or not, so again, if you have one of these traits in the root center that we're going to talk about, and it happens to be in the second line, you're still going to use the third line essence as a piece in your flavoring, in your marketing package, because that's what triggers the third, or the material way. That's what triggers your clients to buy from you. What happened here? Oh, okay. All of a sudden I have timing. Okay. So let's review the root center. This is a motor function. Remember, we've talked about this. This is a motor function, but it is also a pressure, a fuel, and it is our stress. So stress cannot be avoided, nor can we fight against this vital fuel without paying the consequences. If we do not understand the mechanics of this pressure on our body, we can easily push ourselves too hard. If we turn the pressure inwards, we become depressed and suffer deeply. One byproduct of maintaining a healthy balance between too much and too little stress is a sense of vitality that spills over as joy for living. Stress, as understood in the context, is merely a fuel. It energizes certain biochemical processes deep within us, this is the adrenaline system, that are designed to help us master the situations we meet in life. It helps us to sustain our momentum to make progress and evolve. This pressure literally gets the body moving. It is an essential ingredient of manifestation in our lives, and how we direct the stress is determined by our unique configuration. So the fuels of that root center. This is a picture of the mandala, which can give you guys a very, very, profound look at how important this is. So the fuels for transformation here, you guys have already been through the quarters of the wheel, understanding how the purpose is, comes about. Transformation and mutation in this quarter, we have 6 of the 9 gates in transformation. So the root, that drive, that stamina, that fuel, is assisting us with our transformation. But it is also assisting us with form, with that concretized building, creating that brick home, building that computer, building a rock wall. It's helping humanity with that as well. So keeping still, provocation, and beginnings is the fuel for form creation. This allows for form to be created. We can concentrate on the form. We can provoke the spirit of the form. And then we can build the form. I love the provocation piece because, as I had said when we looked at these quarters, somebody may walk into a Buddhist temple and not be a Buddhist, however, be moved by that temple, be provoked. Their spirit can be provoked through form. So do you guys see how layering in, pulling keynotes, playing around with this, it just provides such a deep cellular process when you can play and see and look. And you're going to look at this And you're going to see something completely different than I see, which is beautiful. The fuel to transform comes from fighting for our individuality, the joy of vitality, the ambition to transform, the acceptance of limitation, the contraction of one feeling, and the support of needs. That's how we can be transformed. What's so interesting is, this quarter, fourth quarter of transformation, the very, very final step in this, support of needs. It's the very final piece of transformation before we jump into witnessing again. So mull around. How does this look? How does this feel for you? Move around and sense all of the power that's here. These 9 fuels, these 9 different fuels, this is the adrenalized energy. Something you're going to walk through. I'm going to walk through the biology piece, and you will be able to recognize how each one of these systems may be looked at through the lens of human design. So when the fuel is moving towards the splenic center, these 3 fuels here are fueling our survival, right? We have the splenic center, and the splenic center is about survival, yes or yes. The solar plex, this is fueling our pleasure and pain wave, yes? You have walked through understanding how the wave brings us to these, peaks and valleys of pain and pleasure. And the root is providing the fuel for that. The sacral, this energy resource, this is fueling our formatting on how the energy moves through the body. You have also recognized this through teaching. There are cycles in the abstract collective. There is concentration in the abstract logical, and there are pulses in the individual. The root is adrenalizing so much of our movement as humans. So just as a reminder, let's go into if it's a defined center. If it's unhealthy, if you're not acting according to your strategy and not trusting that inner authority, you can be absolutely overwhelmed by your own stress. You'll hold on to that pressure in the body, can become impulsive and rush into things and put that unnecessary stress on other people. But if it's defined in your body graph and you've relaxed into your strategy and authority, the natural healthy state, so you have a consistent internal way of processing pressure. The adrenalized physical pressure absolutely gets you moving. Can handle physical pressure, emotional pressure, or the pressure to be healthy. And you are aware of the pressure you can put on others and avoid putting them under unnecessary strain. When it's undefined, the not self or shadow aspect, too much in a hurry. We've discussed this. Hurry, hurry, hurry. It's impatient, it's restless. And the more of a hurry it is, it seems like more things get dropped into your world to do. The wisdom, slow down, relax. Distinguish between healthy and unhealthy pressures. Recognize the correct fuel. Recognize the correct collaboration with people. Recognize that it's okay for you to take a breath, take your time, trust your strategy and authority, and let the momentum and movement of your body be your guide. When it's completely open, you don't know when to hurry. I know these people. They don't. there's virtually zero pressure in their world. They don't understand or recognize pressure, and they can have the extreme of it, of totally feeling all the pressure, or totally having no idea when to hurry, not understanding pressure at all. So there can always be the dichotomy in these completely open centers. So what are you selling? Well, we discussed this a little bit in the last video. You're selling freedom. The world is a pressure cooker. You're here to relieve the pressure and stress by assisting people with strategies for survival, tickling that pleasure principle, and ways to work with people and make money. The pressure and the stress that occurs from the open route creates unhealthy hurry in our world. Relieving stress is a massive money maker on our planet. So the 9 fuels and what each one of these fuels sells. Again, the strategies for survival, the pleasure principle, and ways to work with clients. So we're going to begin over here because the 41, you know this, it is a start codon. This is the fuel for contraction, contracting down to one feeling. There's a pressure here to feel. This is about decreasing, contracting down to that one feeling. But remember, we're talking about the human experiential way when we go from the 41 to the 30 to the 36 up to the 35. Tons of expectation there. You get to sell the pleasure of fantasy if you have this particular gate hanging in an undefined route. That's what you're selling. You're selling fantasy. We're going to get into this. We're going to, dive deeper in, but I'm just giving you an overview. The 39, the fuel to provoke. Again, I encourage you, if you have not already done so, go back to the channels that I've already that are already here. Walk through any and all of the awareness streams, so you can get a deeper sense. Each level's a deeper sense of how this works. This is a pressure to emote. This is moodiness. So this is obstruction. Selling the pleasure of romance. Remember, individuality. There's so much romance here. There's music and poetry and the unrequited love that sits in here. And then the 19, the fuel for support. The pressure to be sensitive. Sensitive to what? Sensitive to needs. Sensitive to resources. This is about approach. This is the quarter of the 4 ways. Selling the pleasure of vigilance. This is tribal protection. And vigilance really is that. Oh, hold on. Sorry. Is that state of keeping careful watch for possible danger. So security duties that demand long hours of vigilance. That brings people pleasure when they know that they are in a gated community. They're with their tribe. It's gated. There's pleasure there because they feel protected. Their children can move around inside the gate. Then we'll move over to the strategies for survival. We are looking at survival here. 58, remember, 58, 18, up to the 48, to the 16. This is logic. It's moving us from this vitality. How do we know what needs to be corrected? What is that one, piece of the puzzle that we need to perfect? What is that vitality that we need to bring forward for humanity to then identify with the future? This is selling strategies to stay vital. The 38, this is the fuel to fight. What are you fighting for? You're fighting for your individuality. The pressure to struggle. Now, what's really interesting is that you're selling strategies for strong alliances. Why? Well, from the 38 to the 28, remember we discussed this as well. That leads us up to the 57, which moves us into the integration piece of the 34, the 10, and the 20. And integration, the only way integration can become social is through the 28. So we're looking for strong alliances here. We're not alone. Human beings are not on an island. We are together in this whole thing. So we're looking at strategies. Who can fight with me? And then the 54, the fuel of drive. That's why I brought up the 54 when I discussed the introduction to this. This is the pressure to transform. This is drive. This is selling strategy for bargaining and deal making. We're making deals. Then we have the 53. These, the 53, 60, and 52, are ways to work with your clients. The fuel to begin. The 53 is all about beginnings. There's a pressure here to complete. We want to be able to come to the close of a cycle. This is about development. We start something, we're developing it before it can mature in the 42. So selling customer service infrastructure. What is the customer's path when they walk into your business? That is something that I am learning while I present this program to the world. I'm learning about that customer service infrastructure. The 60 is that fuel of restraint. The pressure to mutate. This is acceptance. Remember, this is the pulse. This is the mutative innovation that pulses through individual circuitry. And it's about accepting our limitation, that we don't need to know everything. We just need to know when the timing is correct. But what you're doing here is selling by making the new your truth. By accepting that mutation into your life and making it conservative and ordinary, you can then sell this new stuff to people. For example, Bitcoin. It's been around for 10 years. It's virtually new. Human design. It's been around only for a few years. When I say a few, we're talking 30, but that's nothing. That's just a blink of an eye. So it's new, and it's getting people to adapt, and adopt it. The only way to do that is to make it your truth. You use the product. You use the service. You've integrated it into your life. Now you can sell the new because it's your truth. Human design is my truth. I'm now just moving into things like cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and that kind of stuff. I'm seeing that new movement and becoming, that early adopter. And then the 52 is the fuel to focus, the pressure to concentrate. This is stillness. What we're doing here is selling control. People want to be controlled in some aspects of their world. Why? Because they want to know that the future is secure. That's why. So things like a gym membership where you have a trainer, you have a circuit, you walk in, it's gamified, there's a control factor there. Okay, you get on this machine, you get on this machine, you move to this, you lift these weights, you do this, you do that, you're done, out. And then the next day they come in, here's this circuit for today. We're doing arms today. Yesterday we did legs. Today we're doing cardio. There's a control mechanism there to get them to their future vitality. All right, now let's take a look at sorry, I'm just trying to move things around on my screen so I can see things better. Now we're going to take a look at each one of these gates a little deeper so that you can have a sense of it. So the fuel of contraction. We've just talked about this. This is the pleasure of fantasy. The third line quality here is efficiency. Efficiency in times of decrease, selfishness is justified. We have walked through the 41st gate. You've walked through 1 to 6. The third gate is material ambition and the discipline to go it alone. The energy that fuels the feeling for personal ambition. The energy that fuels the feeling to share. When we look at the 41, this is collective. So you don't sell desire collectively. You sell desire to the collective selfishness. The pressure to turn the desire in others. Crank them up. That's efficiency. What you do is make the entire collective want more to share the same desires. The power of desire and its power when it is attended to only your selfishness. I don't care if it doesn't make sense. I want it. I don't care if it's crazy. I want it. This is car companies that they only make a few cars, and there's this massive fantasy to have that car. This is sex. Sex magazines, sex toys, there's porn. Sell the fantasy of being slim and beautiful with diets and workout machines, gym memberships. Video games, virtual reality, museums, amusement parks. This can be dominatrix. So this is that pleasure. There's fantasy, there's imagination happening in the human experiential way. And it can get selfish. I want this. And then the expectations are what you get to manage as well. That's something that's very important while you're selling the pleasure of fantasy. The 39. The 39, this fuel to provoke. This is responsibility. So the avoidance of confronting obstacles if failure puts others at risk. So the energy to provoke through self-sacrifice. The great benefic whose first consideration is for the larger framework. The energy to provoke through the failure to make sacrifices. And the often disastrous assumption that others are more at risk if an obstacle is not confronted. So if you don't love the product, it puts everybody at risk. Because you will never be successful and there will not be the word of most sales. And I put in the 57 there because the 57 really is our word of mouth sales, and you'll get to know that more when we move over to that gate. But that's also in the individual circuitry. So individuals are mutating one another. We are influencing one another through our experience of it, and then we as individuals are responsible for either really loving the product or not, and then becoming an affiliate for it or reselling it. So primary pressure of the material way is to love what you do. It's essential. If it's not bringing you satisfaction, peace, awe, success, don't do it. And truth never stands alone. You can't love it alone. So this is the mastery of the T's. Remember, we talked about this when we talked about love. When we're in those sexuality gates. Where the 19 flirts, the 39 teases. How do you bring them in? You have to empower others to fall in love with it. It's a tease. We are teased to purchase things. Self-sacrifice, give it away. Give them, give it to them so that they can fall in love with it. Bring out passion in others. Truth has to be loved or not. Truth has to be loved or it is not truth. So in here, it's each one of our responsibilities. If this is a part of your sales pitch, selling the romance of it. So I have a defined route of the 39 that is hanging there. What's important is that the product or service that I bring to my clients, I have to have already fallen in love with it. Now, I'm going to tell you that I've tried numerous different things. That totally open identity center that I have in my design has been so interesting for me. My totally open head, my totally open ajna. And I have tried so many things. But if I'm not fully in love with it, I can't be responsible for bringing it to the masses. I have fully fallen in love with human design. I see it now. Even, I have such great, profound respect for it. And I take responsibility for that. So I know that there is nobody at risk. When they enter into this, they will also find the love of it. So the examples here, you're giving people free offers. Touch them. That's the lead magnets. Loyalty. There's emotional love for consuming the product. Oh my goodness, I have spent tens of thousands of dollars on the human design education. This is the covers of books, tease them to read. These are teasers, again, those free offers. Good piece of information. Timeshares. Timeshares are so good at this. You go on a vacation somewhere and there's a timeshare person and they, provoke and they tease you into coming to their presentation with free gifts. They're very good at that. And this is what you get to sell. You get to sell the pleasure of romance. Romanticize people. They want to relieve their pressure. They want to relieve their stress. They want to know that there is unrequited love out there somewhere. These are the books that are just so deep in that romance. The 19 is the fuel for support. Remember, sensitivity really is about that resource. The 19, the only way for it to really, truly be comfortable is to make sure that it has security and it feels safe. It has its It has its territory, it has its food. Here, religion, selling, spiritual protection, vigilance, having that security system, having somebody vigilantly watching and protecting you at all times. And there's the dedication here. The receptivity to approach can only be maintained through vigilance. So if this is a part of your design, maybe you start up a security company. Maybe you begin to help people with executive driving so that they feel safe in a vehicle. You've picked them up. You drive them to where they need to be. The religious aspect. The security department for events. So you become, you can organize the company that has that event staff so that everybody's so well trained and dedicated to keeping that tribe protected through their vigilance. The 52, this fuel to focus. Remember, we're concentrating. We're moving people into the future. We're selling control. They want to know, okay, what is my next step? What is my next step? What is my next step? What is the pattern? I walk into your place of business and there is a pattern that I can follow. There's a value here to control. So things like planned vacation packages, diet programs, workouts, coaching programs. This is, I don't have this in my design, but I have the 9 pointing down to this. So this is a flavor to this coaching program. It's a step-by-step process. Writing instruction manuals. Having people come into this program and assist me in writing manuals so that you as the client, you as the person on the other end of this information can feel like you get the steps. You know exactly what you're getting. You know exactly how to walk through. There's an onboarding process. You're there. There's that sense of control. Makes your life easier. This is HelloFresh. I'm Canadian. So there's a company that you sign up and they send you a box of meals for the week. That's control. This is what you're eating. This is how to prepare it. That's control. So the 60. This is that selling by making the new your truth. You only can sell the truth to others by making it conservative, making it normal, integrating it into the larger society. That's why when you have individual circuitry in your design, when aware and when awake, what takes place is that you're taking on mutative energy from the matrix. You normalize it in your life, and then all of a sudden that mutation and that normalcy can be seen as a conservative movement, and all of a sudden it becomes your truth. Other people can adopt that truth. This is enlightened self-interest. These are the people that they moved from the PC to the Apple computer because it was new. And those that took on that Apple computer, they made it their truth. This is human design, making this assessment tool ordinary. Anything that was once new and different becomes ordinary here. At one time, nobody had even heard of the word ajna. There's hundreds of thousands of people across the world now that understand human design, that have touched it, that it has touched them, and it's become a part of their lives. This is about integrating something new into society. The 53 is the fuel to begin. This is that customer service infrastructure. So on the 52, we had this control. On the 53, what is the customer service policies? So you can write customer service policies for people. You can create a service infrastructure for companies. So at a restaurant, if you get a bad meal, you replace it. You take it off the check. At Costco, man, you can take anything there years later and they refund your money. It's just a policy. How is the customer to be treated in your business? This is how we deal with people. If people are disappointed and their expectations aren't met, they were coming here to have a fantasy or a desire. Why are we talking about that? Because the 41 and the 53 are that collective abstract. They need to know that they have the highest levels of customer service available to them. They want to be treated like gold. So whatever your business is, if this is a hanging gate, a dormant potential of your undefined root center, this will be a place where you can make money, the highest level of customer service. And you can sell that infrastructure to many different companies. The 54, this is the drive, that fuel, that drive to transform. This is about bargaining. These are strategies for bargaining and deal making. This is that covert interaction. You know, this is kind of shaking hands with the devil type thing. You can have relationships with the CEO of a 500 or a Fortune 500 company, and you can also have covert deal making with the drug dealer down the road. This is all about deal making, hidden agendas, shaking hands, being a part of that bargaining and dealing, that natural expression of growth within that support mechanism that is that deal, that covert interaction. This is insider knowledge. So maybe you become a stock analyst and you're the one that goes through the financials of large companies that are on the stock market. And you can recognize, this is going to crash. This is built on sand. And that insider knowledge, you put a sell alert out there. And inside that, inside your group, your tribe of people, everybody sells and they get out prior to whatever it might be. The crash of the company. This is that company that's finding where to build and they want to have tax breaks or whatever it is, and there's this covert interaction and deal making. Well, I'll provide your city with 1,000 jobs if you give me a tax break for the next 20 years. Amazon, they make deals like this all the time. The U.S. Postal Service is taking money out of the U.S. citizen tax fund. They're taking government money to fund the movement of Amazon products all over the world. That's how much of a deal they gave Amazon. It was a covert interaction. the hidden relationship in an enterprise. This is getting deals and jobs through friends and family. When we move to the 38, this is the strong alliances. And again, as I said, the 38 up to the 28 is the only way that integration can recognize that there's other people in the world. So this is about strong alliances. What's new is a ginormous seller. So you sell something new through testimonials. You're provoking people to support the fight, support the cause. Integrate and fight beside your side. Have alliances. Those movements, those grassroots movements, the QAnon movement, the yellow vests, the marches, the protests, all of this movement, this struggle to be individual within the collective. And you get to sell that. You get to be the one to set up these not-for-profit groups. Or sell a brand new coaching program with a beautiful tool called Human Design, where you get to bring community together to fight the good fight, to drop into your individuality. And then we have 58. This is the vitality. This is the strategies to stay vital. How do individuals move into the future, stay vital, have that electricity? Has to be this collective movement. This is propaganda and mass media and social media and rallies and television and YouTube. Because remember, what is the 58 doing? It's moving up to the 16. What is the 16? 16's right full of propaganda. It begins with delusion and it ends with gullibility. How gullible are people to buy the product? Now, I'm not saying, manipulate people. That's not what I'm saying. But if there can be enough propaganda to have people feel the vitality of your product, they will purchase it, or of your service. We all see this. We all can watch this. If it's going to take the collective into a better future, we can propagandize that all day long and sell it and have people buy it. So that was drive and stamina. That's the root center. We will totally be discussing all of this when we walk through our weekly coaching. We'll focus in on what we need to focus in on. We'll have conversations. We'll talk about it. We'll get examples of it. And yeah, so have fun making money through selling freedom, because that's what we're doing here. There is this selling of freedom. The world is a pressure center. So if we can relieve their pressure, give them something to look forward to in the future, have them have strong alliances, make the correct deals for themselves, understand that when you have a business and you're working with clientele, they really want control. They want to know that the new can be very conservative and adapted into their life and adopted into their life. They want to know that they have customer service infrastructure. They want to know that they are protected, that there's romance, and that their pleasure of fantasy can be met. So play with this, play around with this, see what you come up with. All right, on to the next center.